Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day, gearing up for Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday for sure. Anything that centers around food, and it gives me an excuse to cook for hours and hours on end is like kind of my thing, which is weird to say out loud, but I absolutely love Thanksgiving. I've been thinking about what I'm making for Thanksgiving since the beginning of August. And I mean that wholeheartedly. So what I wanted to do today was something a little different for me and maybe for you, and that's a dessert recipe. I am not a baker. I don't really even get into no bake dessert. Dessert's not really my thing. I always, if you gave me a choice, you can have chocolate cake for the rest of your life or you can have salt. I wouldn't even think about sugar or chocolate cake. Bye. I'm all about the salt. I'm a savory person myself. But with the holidays coming up, especially Thanksgiving, dessert's a big deal. And a question that I've been getting asked a lot lately is, how do I bake without dairy? Or what do you use instead of eggs? And I gotta say, I know a basic answer, but I don't have much experience. So thank you to everyone that's been asking that question, because you helped move me to do some research of my own, and here we are now. So today what I'm gonna do is bring you a 100% plant-based pumpkin cream pie. Bam! Oh, that was my oven saying my oven's even ready to go for this. I am not a pie person. In fact, if you keep up with me on my Facebook page, shameless plug, you know that I've been posting videos and pictures of Thanksgivings past since I've transitioned to being plant-based and have had control over my entire menu. And although I spend, last year I spent 3 days making Thanksgiving, I didn't make one dessert. It was all store-bought. So anyway, I don't really love pie, but I've always loved cream pie. Chocolate cream pie is my favorite, so maybe I'll do that next. But I know pumpkin's a big theme for the fall and Thanksgiving, and even into Christmas. So I thought I'd bring the two together. I found this really great recipe that we're going to try out together. I'll make sure to post that in the description bar below so you can follow along or make it yourself and let me know what you think. That being said, make sure that you're subscribed, because I'm going to have lots of yummy stuff coming to you over the holiday season. And you have headed over to Facebook and liked my Facebook page, LezzyLovesVeggies, facebook.com/LezzyLovesVeggies, and make sure you give this a thumbs up if you want to see more dessert, and I will venture out of my comfort zone. So with that being said, grab a drink, I've got mine, and kick back and let's make some dessert together. Okay, so let's get right into what we're gonna need. You see how few ingredients I have here? Part of why I picked this recipe. So let's run through real quick, and I'm gonna get into just a few of these things just to help familiarize you if plant-based baking is new to you. So first we have some white rice flour. This is going to make our recipe not only dairy and egg free, but gluten-free too. Excuse the squeaking, that is my dog with her new toy. I've got some organic maple syrup here. This is my favorite, as you can tell. We're going to use some organic extra virgin coconut oil, some good old-fashioned pumpkin pie spice. This is new to me. I don't know if you guys know about this. This is coconut sugar. It smells like brown sugar. It doesn't really taste like brown sugar, but it does have that molasses sort of smell and a little bit of that hint to it. So I'm interested to see how this works. I've got some unsweetened almond milk, more coconut. This is cold, an organic full fat unsweetened coconut milk, some good old-fashioned organic pumpkin puree. Then I have some plant-based whipped topping. This is one that you would find in your frozen section, and actually So Delicious is pretty cool. On their website you can go and you can do a specific product search, and it will tell you every store within a certain radius that you pick that carries them. So this was really easy for me to find, and you only have to thaw it in your refrigerator for 4 hours before. Back here I have some soaked cashews, which may seem a little weird to you. If you are, but I might seem a little weird. Right here I have some soaked cashews, about 2 cups worth, and then here we have some soaked cashews. Okay, so real quick, I just want to go over a few things if you're not familiar with them, so you're going to be able to keep right up with me and see what I'm trying to achieve here. So let's get into these cashews first. Some of you might be like, what the heck? Trying to be nice here. What the heck, Alicia? Like, what is going on with these and why did you soak them? Ew. Okay, so soaked cashews, I do have, although I'm not a really huge baker, I do have experience with them as far as making cream or cheese. So cashew cheese is really popular. Cashew cream is really popular. That's what we're gonna make today. All you have to do is soak them overnight and they blend out super smoothly, and you can make them to either a sweet thing like we'll be doing today, or a savory thing like I've made a ricotta cheese and put it in lasagna before. Super awesome video idea. Second thing I want to talk to you about is white rice flour. So this was new to me. If you are a gluten-free person, or especially if you're a gluten-free person and you love to bake, this is probably not new to you. What I do have experience with is oat flour. I actually learned about that last Thanksgiving, and I put that in instead of all-purpose flour to make all of my roux, which are something that you make with either a fat or an oil, or either butter or oil, and it thickens your soup or your sauce or your gravy. And so I thought, well, maybe I can just use oat flour since I know I have some, but I did a little research and I found out that the white rice flour lends an airier, spongier feel to your dish. But if that's what you're into, you want that heavy, like, I need a nap type of dessert, go with the oat flour, because that's going to be similar to, or bran flour, both of them will be similar to an all-purpose flour. That's what is the most traditional dessert we probably think of when we hear pie crust. All right, and that's enough. Let's get right into this. Also wanted to mention the only equipment that you're going to need today is an oven, a blender, a food processor, and a pie plate. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is make the filling. We're going to have to refrigerate it for a little bit while we are making the crust and while the crust is baking, so let's get that out of the way. So what I've got, I'm going to turn you over here so you can see my little setup, or at least my blender, because this is what I'm going to use to make the filling. So I've got 2 cups of soaked cashews. Okay, so there are my 2 cups of cashews. Then I've got 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Bloop. I have 5 tablespoons of maple syrup that are going to go in. 3/4 of a cup of pumpkin puree. Full fat coconut milk. So I've got everything all ready to go in my blender. Just going to secure the lid here and blend it on high until everything is smooth. Okay. That did not take very long. So of course I'm going to taste it. Again, this is my first time making this. So I think that this needs to be a little more conventionally sweet. So, and just like more traditional tasting. And if you guys want to know why I'm saying all of this, then I'm happy to make another video explaining my rationale here. Oh, you're welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little, this is probably like a teaspoon and a half of just organic sugar. And I'm going to put in okay, I'll measure it for the sake of you guys following along. A teaspoon of vanilla. All right. And the reason I say that's why baking and I don't get along is because I feel like you have to be really precise with baking, and with cooking I'm like, a little bit of this, as you guys know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I know baking is really a science, so that's why measurements are so important. But it's my kitchen. So, all right, here we go. One more time. Okay, let's taste this now. And you know, I can do, again, I can make a whole separate video about why I'm changing this based on my audience. But what's important to me is when you are feeding people who aren't usually plant-based, or especially people who don't have much knowledge about what that means, it's very important for me, for it not to taste diety or green, because plant-based food does not have to taste like that at all. In fact, most of my food doesn't. And I don't like to help perpetuate the stereotype. That's all. Okay, so that's all I'm going to get into right now. So, that's much better. Because the crust is going to have some sugar in it too. That's good. Okay, so we're going to put this in the refrigerator and then we're going to come back and make the crust. Okay, so now we're going to get on to the crust. This is easy so far, right? I'm like talking to myself about that. You guys, you bakers out there are like, girl, please. You're making a big deal over nothing. Okay, whatever. I usually make from a box. So that video is coming soon. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is I have 1.5 cups of the white rice flour. So I'm gonna add that first. It was my food processor, one of my like favorite kitchen appliances ever. And for my pastry chefs out there, yes, I know that I have the blade here. In my defense, the recipe I'm following does not say use the pastry attachment. So we'll see if I'm just ignorant or if that was right. So now I'm gonna put in my quarter cup of my quarter cup of solid coconut oil in. Are they tap dancing over here? Oh, yeah, okay. I'm jamming, sorry, as usual. And then we're gonna add, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. Again, this is that molassesy flavor that we're lending to our crust. So what I'm gonna do now is pulse this in the food processor and slowly pour in my very cold, as you can tell from my frosty measuring cup, quarter cup of milk. So what we're looking for is not smooth, like I just said. And a double check, we're going for flaky and crumbly here, which makes a lot more sense. All this time just for dessert. Okay, so I have mentioned, I feel like, a few times about, use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy something just because you don't have exactly what your recipe or what your idea might call for. Improvise. So I'm living that. I don't have a pie plate, I realized. So here's my casserole dish. I'm just gonna get my hands in it. You shouldn't be afraid to touch your food, disclaimer, as long as your hands are clean. It's gonna sound cheesy to you guys. I honestly use the time that I can touch my food to infuse some positivity and some love into it. I think about love, and I think about how happy I am that I'm able to make this compassionate food. And I try to like visualize that energy coming through my hands. Also, your pheromones go through your food when you cook, and that's what makes yours. As gross as you might think that is, whatever, I don't care. So this is, put it into the oven at 450? 425 for 10 to 12 minutes. My dog thinks that there's someone at the door because I'm doing this. He's a great guard dog, but he's not the brightest. It smells really good. Oh, these little flecks of brown too, so cute. That's from the coconut sugar. So what we're gonna do is put this, what I'm gonna do, you guys aren't here, there's no we. What I'm gonna do is put this in the oven at 425. I'm a hot mess. So I'm gonna put this in the oven at 425 for 10 to 12 minutes. And then I'm gonna let it cool for 15 to 20 minutes before we assemble. So I'll see you guys soon. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes since I took the crust out of the oven. So what we can do is finish this up. And we're gonna put the filling we made earlier right on top. Here, I'll show you what the crust looks like. I wanna burn myself. It looks like this. So you see how it's baked a little, I don't know, I hope I didn't do it right. It smells really, man, it smells really good. Okay, so I'm just going to flip you over so you can see what's happening here. One day I will have really excellent equipment and I won't have to do that. So I'm just going to pour this over. Next, I'm going to take this whipped cream, cocoa whip, and do this. You guys are experimenting with me. It says to top this now, so that's what I'm doing. So much patience is involved in this. This is not my strong suit. but this actually worked out. It's just more patience than I would have liked to have to expend here. This needs to chill for at least 2 to 3 hours before you serve it. Since I don't have the pie crust on the sides holding in my filling, I'm going to put this in the freezer for 2 to 3 hours and then transfer it to the refrigerator in an effort to try to get it to hold a little bit better when it does cut. So it's more of like a trifle sort of thing. Okay, so this is what we're looking at about 2.5 hours in to the freezer, so it's not moving anymore. I'm gonna cut into it and see where we go from here. I hope you guys enjoyed making dessert with me. This is definitely something I'm not used to. I hope that if you try it, you let me know how it worked for you, or if it didn't work for you. If you want to see something else, let me know. And as always, I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Love you.